Hey guys, it's Gale the Quick here. This is going to be a bit of a longer video. I've created a shader for my game Black Omen RPG, and I thought it was quite nice, and I thought I'd share it with everybody here. So I'm going to go into it, but first let's see what it's about. So, being a space game, I needed, engine plume effects, and I think I came across something that's pretty cool here. This particular material, it is well, it's on a mesh. That's just a sphere that's squished, so it's tall. And it has a couple of different draw passes. This one has 3 draw passes, and it also has some displacement of the vertices, which lets me kind of shift things around there. And that is why, yeah, it is all done on one thing. So let's go take a look at the shader. Got the shader editor in a separate window here, and it is a bit of a ginormous, complicated mess. This is after I organized it, and we have 3 distinct sections here. So we have this section, and that's the one that is changing what color things are. That's just a basic hue changing transformation. It only does one pass at a time. So each one has to change there. Let's put that back. And that's these guys down here. And then we have the general streaks here in the middle. And these are also being used with the recoloring to generate the emission, because it's just alpha and emission for this one. And then we have this guy up top. This is the one that took me the longest amount of time, because I've done just basic streaks from textures before. But getting it into a nice kind of pattern here to use for the alpha, it did take me a little bit of time. So I do have a plane set up over here so that we can more easily see what is going on. So I'm going to try and swap between these. I'm going to put this guy, well, let's see, can we put our plane? There we go. This orientation should let us see what's going on, at least a bit. So to start, let's just unplug everything over here. And yeah, you can see the materials, or the shapes of the meshes there. And this one, so the vertex displacement is in a different layer. Of course, the vertex groups, and that's what does the displacement there. We're going to focus on the fragment. That's the pixel shader, if I recall. And let's see what's going on. So we have the recoloring down here, and let's just pop this into the albedo, see what's going on there. So that's the general, what is being generated there in the albedo. And then we have this kind of flame looking thing, and of course that being passed into the alpha map gives us a nice broken up kind of flame. And the reason that I did all of this up here is that my other older technique, it just did not look right, even though it was still being broken up. Oh, put that in there. You can kind of see that it breaks up, but it still has a very defined edge. You can still see that it's scrolling and like fading out, but it does have a very clear this is the end. So definitely wanted that to be broken up more to give it more of a flame-like look. So we'll go over this section here in the middle. Nothing too complicated. We'll just work our way back. So the end result out of here is this streakiness, and we're sampling from a couple of different noise textures. We're getting one line out of there, and then, yeah, we're sampling it through, or we're multiplying it by this gradient, and that's where that sharpness comes in. We could probably tweak that a little bit to dial it in, but not going to do that right now. Then we have this gradient down here, and this is the just basic scrolling one. So these are all multiplied together with this chain. So we get the first two, and you can see that gets us some lines, vertical lines going through there. And then combine that with the other one, and we get something kind of decent going on there. Now down here, this texture, which again was the just the basic scrolling one, it is being fed down into this gradient, and this gradient is just a kind of light gradient. Oh, did I plug that in right? Oh, plugged in down beta. There we go. Yeah, just a white, hot kind of temperature thing for a very bright light, like a lightsaber, where it gets a little kind of white in the center, and then it has that distinct color out at the edges. And that is very simply having its RGB values turned into HSV. The H is pulled out, and then a parameter, the hue, is added to tweak it. So if we go through and afterwards, it's been converted back to RGB, and see that, and now we have the particular hues. And yeah, so each layer can be modified. And then that looks like it's being plugged in. What is this one doing here? Yeah, I guess that's making it a little brighter or whiter at the base of the flame there. And then we multiply it just to kind of get it a bit sharper. Have that go through. And here we're multiplying it by our throttle, which defaults to 0, but I think is on full at the moment. So that if your throttle is 0, this would not be very bright. And then that as an emission color, well, it's white at the moment. So a lot of the magic is, of course, coming from all these being together, and this one up here. So you can see little previews here, but I thought maybe the picture over here, or the quad or plane over here would be better for you. So we are getting the UVs, and of course we need time because we want it to scroll. And right now we're changing, let's see, we're creating a new coordinate for our UV system and plugging it in over here. And we're getting a single line. So we have this procedural texture here, and we are getting a single line, and so we're kind of scrolling up that. And let's see if we can pull that out to albedo. Yeah, so that is a single line of that texture right there that we were scrolling through. And we're adding in our throttle there as a little bit of a modulation. Throttle's on max at the moment, so it should look the same. And this is the tricky part, we have the y coordinate of our UV coordinate. So that is the up and down component. We are subtracting our strength of the gradient from y, and that gives us this spiky boy right there. I'll put that in albedo, and look at that. It looks fantastic. So I think there is a little problem there. I have a plane to go behind things, and yeah, we're getting a little bit of black at the back here. Now that's not a huge problem. It might not be terrible, but we'll plug it in the alpha, and I believe the problem comes up when we add in the emission. Yeah, that could be really cool, but that's definitely not what I'm going for here. So I'm going to put a pin in that one, maybe use it for some alien stuff, and that is why we have the clamp right here at the end. But as for some other steps to kind of make this better, we'll go back here and make that into our alpha, unplug those, and put our plane away. So we've got that, and then I just multiply it by a high number to kind of narrow the range there. And that just makes the line between the light and dark more sharp. Yeah. And then I have the throttle component. It's going through a couple of things, and that is being added as a height to the overall thing. Actually, right now it's being subtracted, but the effect is that depending on the throttle, I get longer or shorter. Yeah, longer or shorter things. Let's see if this material should be set up. Let's change the throttle. Yeah, so throttle 0, you can see that they are shorter. Throttle 1, they're a bit taller. So that is what the effect there is. And I think that's pretty nice. So we combine all those together to our alpha mask right here. I believe I have to, nope, it's all good. All being added together with a bunch of inputs for time here. Put that into the alpha, and then give it some emission. And it looks great. Yeah. So that's there's probably some more efficient ways to go about doing that, and I may tweak it in the future. This one, especially since it's 3 passes of a transparent shader, I think is kind of making the fan on my computer kick up on my laptop here. Yeah, so probably a few ways. And one of the ways I was thinking of enhancing it is to add in some procedural displacement at the end. So I have just a little bit of displacement so that I could kind of, with one thing, tweak the size and shape of this. Let's see if I can show that. So, yeah, vertex scale. Yeah, 2, 2. Yeah, so I can tweak it and get cool stuff like that. So that's why those are there. And if you bring those down, you can get, is that the one? No matter. But it does look very nice. But I think if you look at it from the front, that's its weakness at this time. So let's put that to 3. So if I look at it from the front, it's very clearly still like perfectly round, which if I added in maybe a little bit of bloom or something into some camera attributes, camera effects, stuff like that, could counteract that. But I also believe if I put in a little bit of vertex displacement, with less here at the front, but more at the back, a little bit of random, just to kind of get the last licks of the flame to kind of dance around a little bit. That could be pretty cool. But you know what? I am already pretty happy with what I have here. It looks outstanding. Fantastic. And I'm sure I'll come up with a couple ways to improve it. But hey, that's a video for a future time. I'm Keel the Quick. I'd appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Don't die.